All right, guys. So it has been 3 months since I started using the Sigma FPL. And I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update, talk a little bit about the things that I love about this camera and some of the things that I don't necessarily like or dislike, but I wanted to talk about just how everything is going with the camera. 3 months ago, I decided to get this over getting a Fujifilm GFX. I decided to get this. I returned my Canon EOS R1 and my Canon EOS R and got this instead. And at first, it was a little bit of one of those moments where it was like, am I really making the right choice? And I have to say, after 3 months of using this camera in every single professional shoot that I've done, I wouldn't go back. It just does such an amazing job at everything that I'm doing in my studio. Its native resolution is 9,528 pixels per image, shot at a 61 megapixel full frame sensor. And honestly, I love it. I think it's a fantastic camera. I think it does a really good job. I have a Hasselblad XD1. I've shot GFX. I've shot Sony. I've shot Canon. I really love this camera for what it does. And I can't imagine using another camera, to be honest. It's just the quality of image that I get, the pixel resolution, the depth, the structure, the sharpness. It just does such a phenomenal job in studio. And I really love it. It's really great. The one thing that I will say that is hit or miss a little bit is the autofocus. And it's not the autofocus isn't bad, it just doesn't have the fastest autofocus. And I find actually in studio that I end up using manual focus more often than not. But even then when I do use autofocus, it does a good job. Like I have no complaints. It's just a little slow at times. There are a few comments in my last video. One of them was about it having an electronic shutter and not having any sort of like mechanical or manual or physical shutter. And it depends on what you're going to use the camera for, right? If you're using it for headshots in studio, if you're using it in a really controlled environment where it's sitting on a tripod and you control all your lights and everything, then that doesn't really matter. It's when you move a lot that you'll get a little bit of frame bending and a little distortion in that sort of way. And then in those cases, the autofocus isn't really that great when it comes to the photos. Now, when you're shooting video, I think it does a fine job. I don't really use autofocus when I'm shooting video. I'm almost always using manual focus when I shoot video, but I don't really shoot video on this, to be honest. That's not really why I bought this camera. Even though it is a cinema camera, if I were to shoot video on this, I would probably end up using it like a interview or documentary environment. And even then I would have it on a tripod. I would have it on a gimbal. I would have it really stabilized. And I wouldn't really worry that much about the cinema side of it. So for me, who works primarily in studio, who primarily shoots fashion and headshots and things like that, I think it does a fantastic job. I used it for Fashion Week a couple weeks ago. It did great. I have no issues there. I used it last week on a shoot up in northern Montana for Johnny Walker. And it just does. I have zero complaints. I was a little bit worried about it not functioning super well on the electronic side because of the temperature in Montana, because it got down to 30 below Fahrenheit. But it still performed really well. There was no issues with the battery. There was no issues with the function of the camera, and it shot beautifully and amazingly. And I had it exposed in the snow for pretty much the whole day. In fact, it actually got a bunch of snow. One of the tree branches that had snow that was above our gear area dumped some snow on top of it. And because it's weather sealed, it just was like, what do you want? Which I thought was fantastic. And so again, I really don't have any complaints. I think it's fantastic. And the menu is very simple. I know that there was somebody who commented in my previous video about me saying that I didn't want to spend a month learning the GFX menu system. And I stand by that. Having shot with Canon for the majority of my professional career, I really like simple menus. I don't want to spend a month figuring out how to use a menu in a camera. I don't believe that I should have to do that. And with this Sigma FPL, the menu is so simple. It's very intuitive. And I can set custom menus and set it to go, and it's right there. It's ready. I don't have to worry about anything. And everything is right within a couple pages of the menu. I don't have to go deep searching for really anything, which I think is great. And so again, for my own purposes, shooting in studio, it does such a fantastic job. I love the quality of images, and I love the quality of the pixel depth and resolution and the structure of the image. And yeah, it's great. After 3 months of using it, I honestly can't imagine going back to something else. The one thing that I will say that was a little, not even frustrating, just a little annoying, is that with the new firmware update, I can no longer upload my own custom LUTs to the camera. And that's fine. They have their own color modes within the camera, and I use those. I'm going to take all my images into Lightroom and color grade them afterwards anyway, so that doesn't really matter to me. If I really did want to use my own LUTs, I can get a Atomos Ninja and upload the LUTs to that, and then use that to record the video, which is great. And you then also would be able to shoot in 9K Cinema DNG raw uncompressed format for video with Atomos Ninja at 9K. But as far as photo, I mean, it shoots 9K straight out of the camera, so I don't really have to worry too much about that. And yeah, I mean, I shoot with a Sigma and a Lumix Panasonic, and those are the only two lenses I have. Those are the only two lenses that I need. And I have zero complaints. I think this is a great little camera. If you're looking for literally the highest pixel resolution, the highest megapixel full frame sensor camera that you can get on the market, this would be it. And this is a great camera. It's $1,800. And there are a couple different options you could do. There's a $2,400 package that comes with all the like dumb shit that you don't need. But the body itself is just $1,800, and versus $4,000-$5,000 for other comparable cameras, it's a no-brainer to me. So anyway, that's it. That's me. That's what I have to say. 3 months in, and I have zero reason to go back. So anyway, all right, guys, love you all, and I will talk with you later. Peace.